I created my own marathon course that went through trails, hills, open fields and roads. And having done it before, I knew I could do it again. But now, I had a time to beat. 5 hours, 2 minutes and 8 seconds. I often think about this quote from Murakami, how the only opponent you have to beat is yourself, the way you used to be. And you must beat the end endurance had improved since last time, and I wouldn't be slowed down by snow. But the pressure to beat my own time was there, and it definitely raised the stakes. The first few miles went by fast. The sun was out, it was chilly, but it wasn't too cold. I actually don't think the weather conditions could have been any better than they were. By mile 10, I had set into a steady rhythm and feeling confident. There's something about running in nature that I find real freeing. When I head out for a run, I usually just think I'm gonna head out in that direction and see where I end up. And then I go. In those moments, it's not just about running, it's about exploring. Imagine that you are transported back thousands of years. Our ancestors wouldn't willingly run a marathon. They ran for survival, to find food, water, or shelter. Fast forward to today. Who knows? Maybe it's a Stone Age instinct that drives me to explore and discover places I've never been. Sometimes I take a different turn or follow a new path, dodging tree branches, jumping over roots and rocks, even hopping across streams. I'm like a hunter and gatherer, moving through uncharted territory, figuring out the lay of the land and how it all connects. I think getting lost is part of the fun. I feel more alert, as if my survival instincts kick in, sharpen my senses to help me find my way around. And suddenly, I'm in a whole new place. I found so many great spots in my area that I didn't even know existed before I started running. Running a marathon becomes increasingly challenging, both physically and mentally, the further in you get. There are moments where it feels great, like you're on the top of the world, and other moments, not so much, where each step feels like a struggle. One strategy I use is that I set milestones. I tell myself, I'm just gonna make it to that tree. Once I reach that, I set another, now to that street sign. I find that breaking down the distance this way makes it more manageable, so the finish line doesn't seem as far away as it actually is. And before I know it, I covered miles. Also, training for these marathons has given me this discipline to push through those feelings of discomfort. I didn't plan on running my first marathon in the winter. I had to take some time off because I had pain in my calves. I remember being frustrated, wanted to push through the pain, but also knowing I had to be patient and heal. So when that day of the marathon finally came, it wasn't ideal, what with all the snow everywhere. But I did it anyway. Just like I did on all those days when running was the last thing I wanted to do. When I would rather stay at home to watch a show or play a video game. Some days I'll be out there for 3 hours or so. I find that when I focus on the rhythm of my footsteps and my breathing, that I enter this sort of meditation. It's like my mind can finally slow down and sort through things. These days, I feel like my attention is everywhere, and I get easily distracted. Everything from my phone to videos on social media. So in running, I found this opportunity to disconnect and just be alone for a while. It's become a space for me just to reflect and think. I think about who I used to be. Growing up, I was shy, awkward, and not very social. Making new friends was a struggle. and often found myself lost in books or video games. I felt more comfortable in my own company than in large groups. I think about how far I've come since then. There are still times I wish I had a bigger social circle or found it easier to connect with others. But I have come to appreciate the depth of the few friendships I do have. Running has taught me that I can overcome things that are difficult for me in the moment. I just need to give it time. For me, learning to sing has been even more challenging than running a marathon. It wasn't a skill I picked up quickly or easily. I felt as if I wasn't born with a natural talent for it. Likewise with learning to play the guitar.
But even so,
becoming more social or
they have made me
succeeding in school. It's like I trained my mind to stick with challenging tasks, just as I've trained my body to keep going during a long run. I believe I was able to follow through on those goals because of the resilience and determination that I got from running consistently. It's like any small effort you do to try to make a change. It all adds up and matters in the end. During miles 17 to 20, it's common to face the wall. Physiologically, the wall happens when the body's glycogen stores, the primary fuel for running, becomes depleted. At this point, the body struggles to maintain its pace and starts to rely more heavily on fat for energy, which is a less efficient fuel source. Even though my energy was getting lower and lower, I knew I had to keep up my pace, because I did have a time to beat. I focused on reaching the next milestone, and the next, and the next. At one point, near my finish line, I couldn't help but start to smile to myself. I started to encourage myself out loud. I got this. Almost there, I told myself. By the time I crossed it, I couldn't help but feel pride. Not only because I beat my previous time by 30 minutes, but because I didn't give up when it was hard. I signed up for my first official race just a few months later. This time, I won't be running alone. I will be running with hundreds of other people.